From different factions, beef between passengers, and absolutely unhinged TikTokers, the Royal Caribbean Ultimate World Cruise has turned into an exciting social experiment for everyone online to watch. In today's video, I'll take you through everything from how the cruise started to the different characters featured within the ship, and let me tell you, there is a ton of them.
World Cruise talk, there's fistfights and orgies and COVID. Oh my goodness.
Where do I begin? This is where the drama starts.
And narc on me being in the lounge, despite me being a guest of someone.
And apparently the waves are like 15 to 20 feet high.
More people are acting like idiots on this ship.
So the Ultimate World Cruise is a 9-month trek on the Serenade of the Seas offered by Royal Caribbean. In total, the cruise visits over 60 different countries and 11 world wonders across 274 days. This entire journey is broken down into 4 quarters, with the first quarter starting December 10th, 2023 in the Americas, visiting countries like Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, and more. Then the next leg is the Asian Pacific, featuring countries like New Zealand, Australia, China, Japan, South Korea, India, and a few others. Then the Middle East and Mediterranean, which would feature countries like Jordan, Egypt, Cyprus, Greece, Turkey, and a few more. And finally the last quarter, which would be labeled as Europe and beyond, featuring stops in countries like Spain, Morocco, Portugal, Ireland, France, Denmark, Germany, Latvia, Estonia, Sweden, Norway, Iceland, Greenland, and yeah, the list keeps going on. You get the idea. There's a whole ton of countries within this cruise, and the cruise is very long. In fact, this 274-day cruise would make for the longest cruise ship sailing to ever take place, and because of this feat, it generated a ton of online discussion when announced on October 20th, 2021. Most of the initial responses to this world cruise were pretty positive, with one user stating, "I am so excited to be reserved on this cruise and have already lost sleep thinking about it, and I've started researching all kinds of information for it." While most of the comments were positive, there was some initial pushback on the price, with another commenter adding, "That's the big news, I love it, but doubt I'll have enough time off or money to be able to do it." The overall price for this cruise was definitely steep. At the very cheapest lead rate, you could purchase this cruise for around $60,000 per person. However, you would also need to purchase alongside another member, so realistically the cheapest room would cost you over $120,000. And this price would only increase when you factor in taxes, fees, and port expenses. So the actual average price for the cheapest room on this cruise was roughly $69,000, meaning this cruise was going to cost more than the average median income in the USA. And keep in mind, this is the absolute cheapest option on this ship. For those paying for a junior suite, which is a much more luxury room than, let's say, an interior cabin, the price is looking closer to $240,000 between 2 cabin mates. What's even more ridiculous is the most expensive room on this trek is rumored to run at $700,000 for the full 9-month journey. It's safe to say this cruise was going to cost an arm and a leg, but with an itinerary like the one being offered, surely they would sell out, right? Well, unfortunately, they didn't. The world cruise was too expensive for the average person and too long for anyone with family, work, school, or literally any other priority. A cruise at this length had never been done before, and these are the reasons probably why. It's potentially why the former CEO who signed off on this cruise is no longer the CEO of Royal Caribbean as of 2024. Due to the fact that this cruise sailing didn't sell out, the company needed to pivot in what would be the most controversial move that led to today's video. Initially, Royal Caribbean only planned on selling tickets for the entire 9 months, but after hearing the constant complaints that the ship's length was far too long, they decided they would sell the Ultimate World Cruise in 4 different segments. This would allow cruisers to hop on board in some segments for as low as $12,500 instead of the original $60,000 for the full 9 months. Now before taxes, this is roughly only $198 a person per day and was much more affordable and accessible for those with busier lives. The reason this was so controversial was because the cruise goers who had already paid for the Ultimate World Cruise felt scammed, since they would have taken up this significantly cheaper option if the choice was presented to them earlier. At first, Royal Caribbean didn't allow them to refund their cruises and opt out for the quarter cruise segment, which added to the frustration. We'll touch on this a bit more later in this video, as it's a vital talking point into some of the drama behind the World Cruise, but things were only going more downhill, as Royal Caribbean also announced they would be sponsoring TikTokers and other influencers to come on board during each of the 4 segments throughout this 9-month cruise. This would be the greatest and worst decision Royal Caribbean has potentially ever made in the history of their marketing efforts. Considering this cruise was marketed towards retired couples in their later 60s and 70s, it's an odd decision to include influencers who are mostly younger and also have very little experience with cruising. This random mix would be the perfect concoction for the Ultimate World Cruise social experiment we are currently witnessing to this day. So on December 10th, the Ultimate World Cruise took off and the influencers started doing their things, posting room tours as well as just informing their audience about the Ultimate World Cruise. The marketing for the Ultimate World Cruise was quite prominent within the smaller cruising community. However, this is a very small bubble, and for the first time ever, the outside world of regular people who typically wouldn't be interested in cruise content or cruises in general started hearing about this crazy 9-month-long cruise, visiting 60 different countries around the world. The initial reception online was pretty positive, with most people not being able to process a cruise at this length, but the general intrigue was enough to call the first step of Royal Caribbean's influencer campaign a success. Their hashtag Ultimate World Cruise was seen over 100 million times across TikTok within the first 2 weeks, and things were only looking up until the tides started shifting, no pun intended. People anticipated drama within this cruise, and the first bit of information about drama on the ship came from this TikToker known as UK Secret Travel, who stated they've been talking to somebody on the cruise about how unhappy they are with the classism that is taking place within the ship.
I have had some intel that the Pinnacle members on the Ultimate World Cruise are being treated very different to the rest of the guests. So what I found out is initially when people booked this cruise back in like 2022 or something like that, they were told that all they could do was buy a ticket for the entirety of the cruise or for one individual segment at a time. So for example, if someone wanted to get on in Miami and do the Americas and then do half of Asia, that wasn't possible. They had to only do Americas or Asia or pay for the 2 of them at the same time altogether. The Serenade of the Sea fits on 2,500 people at maximum capacity. And what they haven't told us is this ship actually only has around 1,500 people on right now because they haven't sold out. They haven't sold all the tickets. The Pinnacle members have been treated completely different. They have been invited to meetings and town halls, which other guests haven't been invited to. And things that are going on in these meetings are affecting the ship. So last week they had a meeting which spoke about seeing the Northern Lights from the boat. And the Pinnacle members got to see that, but the other guys didn't. They missed out on that, and that's a once in a lifetime thing. So, you know, you're spending a lot of money on a cruise, and you're getting left out by the company who you've bought it off. So I would not be very happy about that. Another thing is a lot of the guests on board, specifically the segmenters, are getting pissed off already after 10 days. They're getting really pissed off. Royal Caribbean and how they are treating these sort of platinum members a lot better, and also treating the world cruisers better than the segmenters. They're doing everything they can to make sure that the Royal Cruise members are happy, content, comfortable, which you should do with everyone that is on the ship, especially when they're paying that amount of money. But no, there's a real divide. So with the segmenters, I overheard something that they had to queue up to get on board for 3.5 hours, whereas the Pinnacle members could just walk on in front of everyone. My source did arrange a meeting with senior staff, but has heard nothing back from them to discuss these issues on board. There's also private parties for high status members, so champagne parties and things like that. There's also separate group chats going on, Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, things like that, and a lot of the segmenters are not being allowed into these groups because they're not doing the full stretch. So they're missing out on a lot of things. So think about it, there's a lot of solo travellers on there. They've turned up on their own, they're trying to make friends, and these people are ostracising them, and they're literally like, no, you can't sit with us type of thing. Very mean girls, very school playground sort of thing. A few people have had run-ins on the ship already, so you know, we've heard that there's not going to be any drama. There might not be drama with a certain amount of people who are showing us what they want us to see, but there's going to be drama somewhere, and there already has been drama.
For context, Pinnacle members are the highest tier of members in the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. In Royal Caribbean's Crown and Anchor Society, the Pinnacle Club is the highest tier of their loyalty program, which a member achieves after accumulating over 700 cruise points. The journey through the tiers begins once a passenger completes their first cruise, starting at the gold level with just 3 points. As members cruise more, they ascend through the tier. The points are typically earned per night spent on a Royal Caribbean cruise, with bonus points available for those staying in suites or for solo travelers occupying a stateroom. Reaching the Pinnacle Club status is a significant achievement reflecting a passenger's loyalty and dedication to cruising with Royal Caribbean. The benefits of reaching such a level are extensive, including complimentary drinks, discounts on various onboard services and amenities, priority check-in, access to exclusive lounges, and even free cruises for reaching certain milestones within the Pinnacle Club tier. Now, it's understandable that different tiers would receive different perks. However, being able to decide port days as well as hosting secret town halls based on your membership level had the lower tier cruisers feeling annoyed and unappreciated. But honestly, as someone who's very well versed in the cruise industry, having membership tiers is pretty typical and not something out of the ordinary, but the drama didn't stop here. So you see, there are two different types of cruisers on this ship. The world cruisers who are staying on board for all 9 months, and the segmenters who are staying on for only a quarter of the trip, or a segment. Apparently, these two groups are being treated differently, according to some of the segmenters claiming that the world cruisers are getting preferential treatment, while the world cruisers are arguing that they deserve this treatment because they paid for the full 9 months and are more important. Keep in mind, this has all happened within the very first couple weeks of the ship's initial launch date. But the biggest concern coming from most viewers on TikTok about the Ultimate World Cruise was based upon how the individual relationships would develop inside the ship itself. The idea of meeting complete strangers and then having to essentially live with them for well over 9 months is a recipe for disaster. With 27,000 people expected to set sail on this cruise, drama is inevitable and surely not everyone is going to get along. This point was brought up by TikTok user Mark Sebastian when he posted this TikTok video to his account.
Put cameras on that goddamn cruise. Put cameras on that ship right now. What do you mean there's a town hall people aren't being invited to? It's a cruise. What do you mean that the Pinnacle members are being treated differently? There's a caste system being formed? You haven't even been on there for 2 weeks. It's so haunted. There's going to be mutiny. There's going to be blood. Someone is going overboard. I want to watch. Bravo, where are you? I need eyes. We're witnessing Fire Festival, Alabama Rush, and no one is rushing there. Put me in. Alternatively, put me on the cruise. I'll go. If you pay for one section, I will go. I will cause chaos. I will wreak havoc, and I'll record everything. Let me tell you something. If you're on that cruise right now, film everything. Because in a year from now, when they come knocking and say, hey, we're actually making a documentary about that cruise you went on, they're going to want exclusive footage, and you're going to be able to sell it to them. You want to pay for your ticket? That's how you do it.
Funnily enough, this video ended up getting 7.6 million views, which garnered Mark a ticket on board the Ultimate World Cruise for the very first segment. This was due to a brand called Ateria Books sponsoring his trip if he made content for their brand, which was honestly genius.
I'm going on the Ultimate World Cruise. 18 nights aboard the Serenade of the Seas. I'm going to fucking Antarctica. I only own fashion jackets. What am I gonna wear? And a very unexpected and cool brand reached out to me and was like, "You want to go on that cruise?" And I was like, "Really?" They were like, "You want to go on or not?" And I was like, "Well, yes. I leave in 6 days." This is gonna be another cruise. I'm gonna walk on and go with this. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win. It's not a competition, but I'm gonna make it one.
With Mark promising to bring chaos to the ship, more and more people across TikTok started tuning in to hear all the juicy drama that was soon to unfold. Now here's where everything gets messy, and if you could kindly leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, it would mean a ton, as trying to gather this information took quite some time. So first, we'll start out with a lighthearted and funny piece of drama from this entire cruise, which was this innocent room tour posted by this elderly woman named Adita.
Okay, y'all, it's 2024. Time to change the Christmas decorations on my door. So we've done that. The room pretty much still looks the same. I've just rearranged a few little things to make it a little bit more homey. I also wanted to show you the view out the windows, because everyone was inquiring. We can see the helipad. It's a little bit overcast today, but we can see the helipad because we are on the very, very front of the ship. So out of both windows, very cool. I love these windows because we have pillows up there. We could actually sit there if we wanted to and just look at the ocean, at all the ports. I have my little calendar up now that shows.
If you didn't notice it, the comment section definitely did, and it's a massive pineapple on Adita's cabin door at the beginning of this video. Now for those that don't know, on a cruise ship, a pineapple decoration placed on a cabin door is associated with swinging. The symbol is a discreet way for those interested in such activities to identify and signal to others that they're interested in partaking in becoming a swinger. Now Adita tried to beat the swinger allegations by uploading this video to her TikTok account, but judging from the comment section, I don't think anyone believes her.
Yeah, sorry to disappoint you, but we are not swingers. But we do like pineapples. Here's my pineapple ring. Here's my pineapple necklace and earrings. And here's that infamous sign for my door. Again, sorry to disappoint you. We're not swingers, but we do like our pineapples.
The next big story came from this TikToker named Anthony, who wasn't allowed to board the ship due to country laws, despite having all his clothes and personal belongings still on board.
Now this is where the optics doesn't get any better. Because guess what, y'all? I'm here at the port, and guess what that is right there? That is Serenade of the Seas. And this is where the optics doesn't get any better. Does that make any sense, fam?
This is because he planned to leave the ship and drive to a new port in a different country, and then reboard, which is something called downlining. Downlining is where passengers are disembarked at a port before the scheduled end of the cruise. When you plan to downline, you need to inform the cruise line in advance, which Anthony didn't do, and that led him to being denied entry on board.
TikTok family, join me. I'm going back to the ship. Let's do this.
Thankfully, the TikToker was able to board back on the ship a week later when the ship was in a brand new country. But unfortunately for Anthony, it cost him a ton of extra money and paying for unneeded hotels and additional stress. But because he was so well traveled, this dramatic side story wasn't a huge deal. But Mark's side story, the character we mentioned earlier, had some of his own problems.
Number one, it is so loud on this goddamn ship. It's so overstimulating. The non-stop music being pumped into every room, every hall, every dining room that you enter. I swear I sat on a chair and the music got louder yesterday. Someone who does have sound sensitivity, I'm aware that this could be a personal preference, but if we could take the volume from here to here, that'd be great. Next, unfortunately, I will be pressing charges against the Royal Caribbean Channel for showing me nicer ships I could be staying on. What do you mean that ship has an aqua dome? Okay, I've seen puddles bigger than the pool over here. I'm just not sure why I should have to see that when I'm on a ship that is older than Jenna Ortega. In the final category, prison, honey. Whoever did the lighting upon this ship, I want to see you in prison. Whose idea was it to put hi-hats in every room with the most offensive warm yellow lighting I have ever seen? Frankly. And in the hallways, babe, I walk out in that hallway, I aged 15 years.
I'm literally wearing a hat because I'm scared of the overhead lighting.
Moving on, I have a lot of clothes. I called to get extra hangers, and unfortunately, they brought me wire hangers. You're psychotic if you think I'm gonna put knitwear on a wire hanger? And lastly, the thing I'm sure you'll be most excited to hear about is that the people on this cruise ship continue to give me dirty looks everywhere I go because I have my phone on the gimbal, recording myself, because they've seen my videos. I promise I will give you that energy back tenfold.
See that? I'm dying. Thought I was videotaping them. I keep going like this.
There's a reason a publishing company sent me on this cruise, and it's because I know how to read. And I'm not talking about books.
The important thing about Mark compared to all the other influencers is that he isn't being paid by Royal Caribbean for his stay on the Ultimate World cruise ship. Since he's being sponsored by a book company, he's one of the very few people on board who can actually speak out authentically on what's happening on board and the problems he's experiencing. And the fun thing about Mark is that he does not care what anyone else thinks and will absolutely thrive in the drama.
Can I put you in my video?
Sure.
What's your name? Kathy. So we've now formed an alliance with Kathy, and Kathy's gonna scold anyone if we don't get on the first 4 tenders. We're together in this, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, good. How'd it go?
There's just one person there, and she said, I said, somebody's got to put an order into this because when they show up, make a line. So
She's gonna sing for us right now? It's like 6 a.m.
She's got the mic. Yes.
Oh, it's starting. Yes. Here we go. We need number 3. Come on. There we go.
Number 3's here.
See? 5. There we go.
We made it happen. Please do not yell at me.
Ooh, all right. We're not going to have anyone yelling. It's not our fault that you didn't get here early enough, and that's how it is. What?
She came after me.
I was sitting next to her the whole time. 20. I don't know why this is so difficult. What are you guys? You guys ever gone to school?
Or said line starts here.
Will didn't do a good job. That's a shocker to me.
Mark got hit with a ton of negativity directed towards his attitude on board the ship, and even resulted in himself being posted to a Royal Caribbean Facebook page.
Apparently, I have made it onto the Crown and Anchor Facebook group. I don't know what a Crown and Anchor society is, but apparently it's important in world. Scary world that must be. So I thought I would read and rate some of the insane comments that were left by members of this group as we cruise gracefully across Antarctica, because some of you fossils will never make it here anyway. Now, I'm not going to say the names of who wrote these comments because I would hate for your kids, let's face it, probably grandkids, to watch my content and find out how much you suck. First one is incredible. It says, he might have a slip and fall and might end up you know where. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. I do like the insinuation that someone is going to throw me overboard. I just don't like that you use the word might twice. This next one I think you'll find funny, because they say, he sounds obnoxious. Anyone calling for blood, chaos, and throwing someone overboard needs to be escorted off the ship at the next port. Now, wait a minute, because I thought 7 out of 10, kind of boring. You paraphrased my first viral TikTok about the cruise, but you better keep that same energy when people are talking about throwing me overboard. Perhaps he should have brought his overpriced water bottle with him. A Pinnacle and RCL has spent 700 days at sea, yikes, and earned their status. Their cruise contract he agreed to clearly states no foul language. Can only hope he ends up in the brig and gets thrown off. First, go fuck yourself.
Second, I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10 because you kind of did agree with some of my points when you mentioned the overpriced water bottle. So you agree. You think that they're overpriced because they're not free in a room that my sponsor kindly, graciously paid $8,500 for. And you still think there shouldn't be water bottles in the room. You guys are psychotic. Don't know what a brig is? Sounds fab though. I will say this person's name. Randy Williams says, I love him and can't wait to watch his adventures. 12 out of 10. Randy, I love you, girl. I'm so sorry that you did get eaten up in the comments after that. I do appreciate the love. Next one says, if he really is there to cause drama, he needs to be escorted off. No one needs that on a ship. Honk shoe, what a bore. 2 out of 10, and your dog's ugly. Next is a 1 out of 10 for me. If he filmed me in any way, I'd sue the pants off of him. Bitch, you don't have a lawyer. Let's get that straight. Second, I don't know why you're talking about taking my pants off. And I just got these pants. They're Marnie. Don't take that. This one's a 10 out of 10. Live and let live. Easy to avoid that drama. Walk on by. Finally, someone whose brain hasn't atrophied. Great job. This one says, I hope they kick him off. The amount of pure lies he's spreading is terrible. I watched him the other night saying nobody could get water unless they were Pinnacle members. Funny, I'm on a cruise right now, and only Emerald, and they gave us 4 bottles. Must be nice, bitch. Can you imagine typing that? I'm gonna give that a 4 out of 10 because honestly, you look kind of fun. Anyway, keep the comments coming. I have moles in all of your Facebook groups. I have to go because the captain just said there is a whole pod of humpback whales bubble feeding. Not like you bitches will ever see that.
Over the next couple weeks, the influencers on board were gaining tons of new followers and requests to pump out more World Cruise content as the cruise had officially blown up all over TikTok. What made the World Cruise drama so interesting was because there were so many different perspectives posting their own experiences of the World Cruise. Even funnier is that there was some content coming out from people on the cruise who weren't even invited on as influencers. After about a month into this cruise, things seemed to be mellowing out as the influencers and frequent cruisers appeared to be getting along despite what the internet may have been saying. But that's when Mother Nature decided to have her turn in the drama.
Serenade got hit with a massive storm today.
The storm was so bad that the ship started flooding, which caused a massive panic across all of social media and the internet. Now, as a frequent cruiser myself, I can state that although not common, these things do happen from time to time, and there's an even greater chance of this happening on a cruise that is 9 months long. It would be impossible to go all 9 months without some type of inclement weather, but the type of flooding on the Ultimate World Cruise appeared to be pretty severe as the captain told guests to avoid all frontal elevators as that's where the heavy flooding was occurring. Additionally, crew members were told to remove plates from all tables as the rocking of the storm was really that bad. Now this is where we're currently at with the 9-month cruise, which is turning into the biggest online social experiment ever recorded. Many people criticize Royal Caribbean's decision into inviting influencers on board, but because of the drama that they've started and the content they've produced, I personally believe it was one of the smartest marketing decisions they could have ever made. Between Royal Caribbean's brand new ship, Icon of the Seas, and the World Ultimate Cruise, they sure know how to keep their name in the news. That's all from me in today's video, and if you want to stay updated on the World Cruise or just cruising videos in general, make sure to hit that sub button, and I'll see you in the next one.